What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Music Spectrum podcast. My name is Ron Glista, and I feel like I'm just busting out these podcasts lately. I got my brother-in-law last night, threw a quick one on there to do some early January birthdays this morning, and now I got a good longtime friend of mine, Mr. Erik Cromer, joining me right now. Erik, how you doing today?
Good, man. What's going on, dude?
Not much, man. Erik and I go way back, almost middle school years. Wouldn't you say?
High school.
High school?
Yeah,
I
man.
knew
I
you in
moved.
middle school. Damn it!
Well, I moved to Campfield my junior year, so that's when I was introduced to all my Campfield boys now.
Shit, my memory
Yeah,
must be going. Unless I'm thinking of Senna. I don't know.
it was Santa, but still, that's still 1993, dude. Hell, that's a long time ago now.
Absolutely, it is. So, like I said, Erik and I have known each other for quite some time, and the reason why I wanted to have Erik on here is I know his variety of music, just like myself, is all over the board, and we have a lot of common bands or artists that we both like. But Erik, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, real quick?
Yeah. So Erik Cromer, just like I mentioned, man, born and raised in Youngstown, Ohio. Went to inner city schools. Kirkmere, Volney, and then I was a Cheney boy for a couple of years. My parents decided to move out to lovely Campfield, Ohio, my junior year, and that's when I was introduced to you, Ron, through a mutual friend. And as they say, the rest is history. So Campfield graduate, right now married to my beautiful wife Molly, 3 kids, Blake, Presley, and Otis. Which my last 2 kids, Presley and Otis, has a definite music ring to it. Elvis Presley and Otis Redding, right? So,
Oh, how about that?
yeah. Oldest 22, Presley's 9, and my youngest is 7. Run my own mortgage company here in town. Been doing that since 2003, right out of college, a YSU grad, proud YSU alum. And again, right now residing in Boardman, Ohio, right with you, or you're in Boardman as well, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. And then in spare time, man, we just do a lot of hiking. The whole family is outdoors. We do a lot of mountain hiking. We go up in the mountains, upstate New York. And I personally run the Mahoney County Public Special Olympics. So we do a lot with that. And our athletes are kick-ass, man. It's like the best thing outside of work that I could possibly do, and love it.
Now, I'm proud of you for doing that Special Olympic stuff. Now, the cycling thing, no, the rowing thing that we did a few years ago, was that also for the Special Olympics there at Canfield High School?
It was, yeah. We had a row-a-thon, so you had to row a marathon, and it was cool because it was out of Canfield High School, and we were on the football field. So every 10 yards, we chopped up the marathon, in that 10-yard increments. And the first team to get from the beginning of the one end zone to the other end zone won the row-a-thon. And it was pretty badass because we had our own Special Olympics team out there, and I think we had 8 athletes that were out there, and they were actually able to row the whole marathon. So it was cool.
I remember doing that, and I thought I was in shape until I started doing that. Dude, that thing
Brutal,
kicked
isn't it?
my ass. After I think the first 2 times of going, I was done. I was ready to quit, and we weren't even at the 50-yard line yet.
It's brutal. It's brutal. And then, rowing is one of those exercises where it's like it incorporates every single muscle, and it absolutely crushes you, especially when you're trying to actually, keep on there for time.
Yeah. And that's what I remember doing. Is we had our group, and as soon as somebody started to fall off pace, we were trying to kick them off to get somebody fresh on there.
Yep.
And the further you went down the field, you spent less and less time rowing because you were just beat.
Yeah, you could literally only last about a minute and a half on there, 2 minutes max. I mean, it was all out effort. We had the DJ out there jamming some tunes. Oh, dude, what a beautiful day that was too, man. It was like, I think it was 80 and sunshine all day.
Yeah, I was glad I was able to be a part of that. It was really cool to do. And like you said, to have those other Special Olympic athletes out there,
yeah,
it was really cool to help, participate with them. And some of them were beating some of the teams that were out there on that field too.
Oh, dude, the energy that they brought, because whenever, like you said, you get your ass kicked on the rower, and then you'd look over at those guys, and they're doing it right along with you. that just gave you more energy and more oomph to just keep going. And, again, to see them finish was pretty amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. That was, like I said, I was very happy to be a part of that. Thank you for inviting me. And if
Oh,
something ever
cool.
like that comes up again, do count me in.
Yeah, we're definitely going to get that up and going again for sure.
Cool. So, Erik, you sent me over a list of 10 very interesting bands and artists here. Um, the first one on here is Elvis Presley.
Oh, yeah.
So, with your daughter's name Presley,
Yep.
what or who turned you on to Elvis?
Well, it was kind of at birth, man. I was born 2 hours after Elvis died. So August 16th, 1977. That is when Elvis passed away. And my mom kids with my brothers because I'm the middle child. So I'm definitely my mom's favorite for sure. And my brothers can attest to that. But she kids with my brothers all the time that she definitely said to the nurse when I was born that a star has passed and a star was born.
You're
And
full of shit.
I swear to God, I'll never let my brothers live that down. So Elvis was kind of introduced into my blood as soon as I was born. My mom and dad they had a big influence. They knew him, they listened to his music, and how it is, man. Like you hear the stories where you listen to the music when you're going through your term of pregnancy and the baby can hear it. And that's exactly what they did. So I thought that was kind of cool.
That is kind of cool. And then, with your daughter naming your name Presley, that's just falling to those lines. Now, did you and Molly listen to Elvis Presley when
Oh yeah.
she was pregnant with her?
Yep. Yeah. So both, and thankfully both of us are really big fans. So I found with, a lot of, actually not a lot of bands or artists, but some specific bands or artists that it's kind of a love-hate relationship. We were talking about the Grateful Dead before, just a couple minutes back. And I'll be honest, man, I just can't get into them. I'm not a big fan. And it's the Grateful Dead, correct me if I'm wrong, it might be a love-hate relationship. You either love them or hate them. There's no real middle ground with them. What do you think?
Well, I would agree. I mean, talking with my brother-in-law Tug last night, he's a huge fan of the Grateful Dead, traveled to see them a couple times, has always enjoyed their music, has every album, whatever, lived a lifestyle. But it has to be something that turns you on to them or someone that turns you on to them to open up that door. And for me, that door was never opened. Now,
Yeah.
watching MTV back in the day, like Kim and I talked last night, Touch of Grey was one of their more popular songs, and you would see their video on MTV, and it's, the guys in the band are skeletons playing instruments and stuff before they flicker back and forth to normal human beings, which was cool. But that was my introduction to the Grateful Dead, and that was, late 80s, early 90s. So, like, just like you, they weren't my thing.
Yeah.
I don't hate them. I would say for me personally, I don't know enough about them or their music to be interested enough or to even go and listen to them because I just don't know.
Yeah. And some of those bands, man, it's not even fandom. It falls into like a lifestyle, like the Deadheads, right? The Parrot Heads, right? Isn't it Jimmy Buffett?
Jimmy Buffett, I can
Yeah,
attest
like
to
I
that.
know you're a Parrot Head, aren't you?
Absolutely. I'm
Oh
not gonna
yeah,
deny
dude.
that.
Yeah, and then you got Elvis, right? Like Elvis, the king of freaking rock and roll. Like the I find a lot of people when I bring Elvis up, they're either on to Elvis and love him, or they just can't get into the music and they never listen to the guy. So, but this whole household, this whole family is pro Elvis for sure.
Now, before we go on,
Yeah.
question: is Elvis dead or alive?
Oh man, he's neither. He just went home, right? That's all. We don't know. Like now, God, that's the legend of Elvis.
Yeah, because the
That's
conspiracy
the
out
answer.
there is that he's never died. He just disappeared and went
Just
away
went home,
somewhere.
baby.
I don't know. I, if I see a grave, I'm assuming there's somebody in there. but that's just me. So do you have a favorite album or a favorite song by Mr. Elvis Presley?
Yeah, it's actually Promised Land. So Promised Land is the title of the album.
Okay.
And oddly enough, it's my favorite song. So it was actually not an Elvis original. It was a Chuck Berry cover. I can't remember the year that Chuck Berry released that song, but I'm not a hater on covers, man. I enjoy covers. There's some really badass covers, which we might want to hit on with like maybe the top 3 cover songs of all time. Um,
Well,
but that's one of them, Promised
how the
Land.
how the hell are you going to narrow down the top 3 cover songs of all time?
Oh, dude, I have 3 immediately that come to mind.
Okay, go.
But Promised Land, God, I don't remember when the release was, but are you familiar with that album or song at all?
No, I am not.
No? Gosh. Now, let me ask you this, man. Are you a fan of Johnny Cash? Because he's another one that you either love or hate.
I know his music, but I don't know everything about him.
Yeah?
Yes, I know his music, Ring of Fire.
Yeah. But
Um,
but you just don't know, you don't actively pursue or listen to him, huh?
Correct.
Really? All right. So have you heard his cover, the old Nine Inch Nails cover?
Yes.
Dude, what do you think?
Good.
Good.
Yes.
Solid. It's one of the best. One of the best. So Nine Inch Nails, Nin they're one of those bands that are, they're game changers in my opinion.
I would agree. They brought a different element to the hard rock, heavy metal, grunge scene when they first started playing.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I first heard Head Like a Hole by them, I was blown away because the song to me was so powerful that it was just like, wow, who is this and where are they from? Where did they come from? Tell me more about them.
Yeah. And that was that was back in the heydays where they were the old the rock, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. They were out there, man. They were hitting it heavy.
Oh yeah. So
But
you
yeah, so top 3 Pearl Jam. You know my love for Pearl Jam, man. Like those guys. I don't know if you're familiar with the fact that if you belong to their fan club, which is the 10 Club, they release one cover every year and pump it out to their fan club, which is a pretty cool thing to be a part of. So they pump out so many covers, but Pearl Jam is definitely in the top 3 consideration for good cover songs. So.
okay. See, and I don't mind when a band does cover songs as long as it's done with good taste and it's done properly. There are certain bands or solo artists or whatever that'll do a cover and they don't pay homage to it. They just completely butcher the hell out of it and it makes it sound like shit.
You're right. Yep.
Like
I gotta believe you're a big fan of one of the better recent covers, Disturbed.
yes, I know where you're going with this.
Do you know the name of the song by chance, or do you want me to just pump it out?
Sound of Silence
Dude,
is
that's
great.
legit.
And if you don't know who Disturbed is, you would hear that song and be like, oh my God, this is the next best thing coming. But then you go listen to their music and it's completely opposite of what that cover is because they are a true heavy metal band. I've seen them in concert plenty of times.
I think we were at the same concert here in town. Remember that?
Yes. Yes, we were. David Draymond is, to me, a great frontman who's got a excellent voice. And Disturbed just always has had a sound to them that I've always enjoyed. But when they put that cover out, I was blown away.
You're right. If you kind of go on to the when you hit the all the technology now, right? You go on to Spotify or Apple Music or whatever technology, your platform that you use, and you pump in Disturbed Sound of Silence and you think you're going to get something along those same lines, you're going to be severely disappointed and going, what in the hell what world did I just walk into?
Absolutely. Because like I said, it's not the same. It's not the same. You get into their music, it's an entirely different type and sound that they have.
Yeah. Do you mind if I go on a tangent on since we mentioned that concert?
Go right ahead.
So, dude, do you remember I think that was what, the Bull and the Bear before, what name was it, what it was called?
You know what? I've been rattling my damn brain for about 2 to 3 years now of thinking to myself, what the hell was the name of the bar or outdoor area
Yeah.
that is where behind Nicolini's, the old Outback before I could not think of the name of that place.
Did I hit it?
Yes.
All right, cool. So all the local listeners are definitely going to be like, yeah. I either remember that and I was there and perhaps was there at that concert. But dude, that was like when Disturbed was hitting it right at the peak or just before the peak. And we went and saw them in Boardman.
Yes.
At the Bull and Bear Tavern.
Yep.
And like that might have been one of the best shows ever because of the intimacy. Like, dude, we were right next to the stage. And I'll never forget this. This is what I actually make fun of my wife about constantly, and she'll never forget this either. You know, she's never been to a heavier concert like that. That girl is country through and through, right?
Okay.
So I'm like, hey, babe, you want to go see Disturbed with Ronnie, Josh? I know Cole was there. I don't know if Chris was there, but bottom line was I knew you and Josh were there. We took all the women out there, and Molly, again, her inexperience with that genre of music, she looked like a sunflower out there because all she had on was her little yellow shirt, and we knew what to expect, right?
Yeah.
Like, you wear black to those concerts.
That's right.
That's it, right? And she stuck out like a sore thumb. And I God, that was probably 15, 20 years ago. What do you think?
At least, if not more.
Yeah. So
when was the last time that thing existed back there? I can't.
I know, right? I'd have to Google it, but
seriously,
I still bring that up to this day and make fun of her about it. And I'll never let her live it down.
That's awesome. I'm glad you brought that up because, like I said, I've been rattling my brain trying to remember because I know that I've seen more than one concert back there, and I couldn't think of the name of the damn place. Bull and Bear Tavern.
Did you see any bigger names back there or no?
I think that was probably the biggest one, but I'm gonna have to go back through. There's a website that I get onto. It is called setlist.fm. And what this site is you can create an account or whatever, and anytime you go to a concert, you can go on to this site and say I saw Metallica 2 years ago in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Well, what you can do is you can go on there and you can register yourself and look up the concert, and then you can click on a button and say, yes, I was here. And what this site does is it tracks and it remembers every single concert you've been to. So if I go on there, it tells me how many times I've seen Buffett, how many times I've seen Metallica, how many times I've seen James Taylor, and where I saw them at and what years I saw them at as well.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
It's really cool. So I go on and I can look back at stuff. So if I punch in that Bull and Bear Tavern now that I remember the name of it, thank you very much, that might come up on there and it'll list who's played there and when.
Yeah, you know why that's important too? Maybe not so much for you, but for me, back in the day, sons, marriage, and kids, we kind of got tuned up a little bit, and I couldn't remember where I was at, but I know I was there. Like one of the Pearl Jam concerts that I was at, I'm like, you know what, man, they played Yellow Ledbetter there. The set list was pretty killer. Who did we go with? I know Chris Senna's dad drove the bus and we were all on that thing, but then it's a little hazy, right? So I don't know. That's a good, technology is crazy, man. You could literally find the set list for even local stuff like that Bull and the Bear.
Yeah, that it's on there. So if I clicked on there right now and I
That's
clicked on
ridiculous.
the last Metallica show that I was in Pittsburgh, it'll show the entire set list, the day that they played in the arena that they played in, and you can click a button that said I was there, and it will remember that to your account that you were at that show. So if I want to go on my iTunes account and create a set list from when I see Metallica 2 years ago, and I can match up all the songs in order of how they played it that night, I can do it.
Dude, you know what you should do? You should put a link to that when you post this podcast. Um, that way we, not only myself, but the listeners can get into that and see if they could figure out some old concerts that they were at. That's awesome.
Absolutely. I'm gonna have to look that up. I'm gonna write that down now too, so I don't forget that.
There we go. I tell you what, dude, we've got some very familiar approaches to music, concerts, like you mentioned at the onset, where the genres are pretty wide. We don't just get filtered into one genre or one or two, but we're more of regardless of the genre itself or how hard light, we always go to the fun factor, right? Like if you're not having fun listening to the music,
Yes.
and if you're not having fun at the concerts and can do whatever you want, I think we're on that same little radio wave there. Do you agree with that statement?
I completely agree, because without music, what would life be? Dull,
Oh, dude.
boring, quiet, no excitement at all. It's just you can name so many different words to put with that. Without music, I don't know where my life would be. I've met friends through music. I've experienced, happiness and excitement through music. Being able to be at concerts with my wife and my son brings back memories through music. Some of my other podcasts, my first couple I talked about, you know, when I was younger, my grandparents had an RV camper. We would drive around, go camping, and they would play certain tapes or 8-track tapes, depending on how old I was. And every time I hear like a Kenny Rogers or an Oak Ridge Boys, it takes me back to when I was younger going camping with them. And that's what music does, is it takes you back to certain points in time. And I say this almost every podcast. I just find it fascinating that when you hear a certain song, your mind instantly takes you back. And
Oh,
only
dude.
you can remember that. Only the person can remember that, because that's part of your memory. I told Aaron the other day, son, I can't remember some shit that I learned in high school or middle school or anything. I said, the stuff that you're learning right now, I couldn't tell you anything about it. I said, but if you put on an N.W.A album or a Pearl Jam album or an Eazy-E album or Metallica's Black album, I can tell
Yeah.
you exactly where I was at that point in my life and what I was doing.
Yeah, there's no doubt, man. It's like it almost just, it's like a light switch, right? It's this cerebral circuit that just goes right on.
Yep.
And sometimes, just like you mentioned, dude, it's like music and smells can take me back to, God, like I can even go all the way back to the 80s in my mom and dad's house over in Youngstown. Like I know what she was doing, like Madonna, like a virgin, she's sweeping the living room. And I just know, like, dude, I know the season, I know what she was doing. And that is amazing that you have that immediate switch.
Yes.
And that's pretty, again, like you mentioned, man, it can't go without mention every podcast because of how important it is, I think.
Yeah. And that's the power of music, man. That's the power of music right there.
And
So
we have a mutual love, dude, for on our list, man. Again, I'm going to kind of bounce around because that's how my brain works. But
I know that.
our mutual, yeah, I'm like this the squirrel out in the street trying to miss the car. But but Metallica, like that's our, and a little bit of Pearl Jam, would you say? But more so, Metallica is our real music connection.
I would say so, because no, well, our very first concert together, if you remember, it was 1993, 94-ish.
Uh-huh.
It was at Standby Auditorium.
Oh shit, I already know what band.
Who is it?
It's got to be Candlebox.
That's got to be Candlebox. You remember that show?
Hell yeah, I remember that show. I remember who I was with.
Who,
Yeah,
who was all there?
well, I remember for certain it was me, you, Josh Kohol,
Yep.
Noah Sherba,
Yep.
and Chris Senna.
Yep.
And beyond that, I can't remember because honestly, dude, come on, man. Let's be real. That was the nucleus, right?
Yes.
So anybody outside of that was just gravy on the potatoes. But who else do you remember? Was there anybody else there I'm missing?
I don't know if Robbie Lane was there. I don't recall if John Evans was there, but like you said, Cole, Senna, Sherba, you, me, that five, that was the first show that you and I ever attended together. Do you remember what the second one was?
Oh God. I want to say it was a Metallica concert, or was it? I'm going to say Metallica, baby.
Yes, it was. It was.
Yeah, it has to be
1996 or 1997. It was in February.
And
I went to the Load tour on the first night. They had back-to-back shows. I went to the Load tour on the first night with a buddy of mine. I think my cousin went with me too, and some ex-girlfriend. But anyway, I remember getting a phone call from you the next day, sometime in the afternoon, and saying, dude, something came up. I got an extra ticket. Do you want to go see Metallica tonight? I'm like, hell yeah, I'll go see him 2 nights in a row. So you and I drove back up to Cleveland that second night, and I got to see him again with you.
So if February right arena tour had to have been.
I was at the Q or Quicken Loans or whatever, Gund Arena, whatever it was then.
Probably the Gund.
Yes.
So who do you remember? God, what year was that? 96?
96 or 97, I believe that was the year of that.
Do you remember who opened for him?
Fuck no, I don't remember that. I know your brother was there, Josh, and you and me, and that's the only three I remember. I don't know if there was a fourth.
I'll tell you what, man, between Metallica and Pearl Jam back in the 90s, I mean, I can't tell you who was better. Different, right? They're both different.
Yes.
But every time I went, it didn't matter what set list, the company that I had, the company that we held there, it was always, the usual suspects, right?
Yes.
And it was, I couldn't go. They were both 1-1. There was no 1-2, 2-1. Who's better than the other? They were on level playing field, and they jammed it the fuck out every time, man. It was amazing.
I agree.
And I can't even believe you can go all the way back there without even too much thought. As soon as you said Standby, I knew the Candlebox connection.
Well, that was just one of those intimate shows again that we weren't that far from the front of the stage. And one of the things I remember about that show at Standby was it was a lot of our age kids, teenagers, not a whole lot of adults there.
Yep.
But everybody was either standing or sitting down. And it was only a few songs in, and Kevin Martin, the lead singer, starts yelling at the crowd saying, "Get up off your asses, get up here." And I swear, if I remember correctly, N.W.A.
Yes.
was one of the first people that ran up on stage and did a stage dive off in the crowd.
Yep. Yeah. Because I was going to ask you, you know how the old fishing stories get, the fish get bigger as you tell the story.
Yes.
When I tell the story of being at the Candlebox concert, I'm like, oh man, it was a great show. We were right up there, and then we ended up on stage.
Yes.
And I didn't know if that was, I'm trying to think of the adjective, but I didn't know if it was just kind of me stretching the story.
Nope.
But you just solidified. It was almost like the Bull and the Bear Tavern. You just connected the dot that our asses were on stage, because I know I thought I knew through my story that I was on stage at that concert.
Yes, your fish was that big, Eric. Your story was that true, man. Yes, he was one of the very first people after Kevin, the lead singer, said something. He ran down the aisle, ran up on stage, did something up there, and then ran and jumped off the stage into the crowd.
Yes. Yep. You know that kid didn't flinch at all. Like, you talk about squirrels, that dude just did, right? I'm surprised he even waited to ask, get an ask from him. It was like he probably had 2 steps before he even asked the question of "Get your ass up here."
Absolutely. All the stories we could tell of that kid, man.
No
Wow.
doubt, no doubt.
Wow. Um, so if you look at Pearl Jam, you look at Metallica, what's your favorite albums by them? Do you have a favorite one? Do you have a favorite song?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes to the era, like, again, 10, their first release, 10 is from start to finish. Same thing. I mean, Metallica's self-titled album from start to finish, like, you can't go wrong in any point. Doesn't matter, track 1, track 5, or track 10. You're sitting there listening. So for sure, without question, Pearl Jam's 10 and Metallica's self-titled album is beyond badass.
I completely agree. And I can put on either one of those now, like you said, and listen to them from front to back and probably sing almost every single word to every single song
Yep.
and still enjoy it now like I did when I first listened to it, 20 some years ago.
Well, that brings up it kind of solidifies your point of, the minute that you hear a riff or, a certain lyric where it takes you back to the exact place where you were in time. And I remember, God, my mom would kick my ass back in the day, but skipping school, hearing even flow and knowing who I'm with. We shouldn't be driving a car at the time because we weren't old enough to have a license. But yeah, the stories that go along with those songs, and that's cross generational, right? Like, it doesn't matter what generation you are, Gen X, Y, millennials, like, whatever you are, you've got your assignment or your trigger to certain songs. Even my dad, man, is, talking to my old man, he'll do the same thing. We'll be out at the campground here, he'll hear a song come on, and the story comes out, right?
Yeah.
And it's awesome to be a part of that. But um yeah, like Metallica and Pearl Jam, like, you can't go wrong, dude.
So if
And
you had to put another band or artist up there, you have Elvis, you have Pearl Jam, you have Metallica. I see your list here in front of me, and
yep.
some of the artists you go the same direction, but there's a couple of them on here that you go completely the opposite way.
All
So
right, what do you mean
I'm,
by that?
I'm going to ask you,
Okay.
how do you go from Elvis to Pearl Jam? I mean, I understand the Elvis thing because you grew up in that. That's your family roots. You grew up with that. The Metallica, the Pearl Jam, the Guns N' Roses, the Nirvana, that's us being high school years, early 20s, whatever, the grunge rock stuff. Um, where does Bob Marley, N.W.A., Beastie Boys, where does that come from in Queen? Where does that mix into your realm of music?
Yeah, where the hell? So Bob Marley is, I mean, the quintessential, like, Rastafarian, like, one love, easy, dude. That's, if you aren't on the Marley, I question you as a human being, type of thing. So there is no, we were talking about the old love hate. God, like, I don't know a single person that doesn't dig Bob Marley. You might not be into Bob Marley, but if you don't enjoy listening to some tracks from him, I've never met a person in my life. I don't know if you've ever crossed paths with somebody that really isn't, that couldn't get down with a Bob Marley song.
I think everybody does.
Yeah. So that, like, and I'm kind of just that, his music, his approach, his style, his vibe, his connection with his community. You know what I mean? Like that dude was very socially active back in the day. And he was into politics softly, you know, and but I'm telling you, man, that dude on every, I guess every facet of Bob Marley is just really, I'm keen on. I'm keen on.
So did you pick up on Bob later in life, middle of your
Oh,
life
that
so
was,
far?
yeah, that's a good question, man. Like, I will tell you that Queen was a later in life. So you know, Bob has been with me since I first heard Bob Marley, right? So that's been around since I've been introduced to him.
Okay.
Queen and a lot of artists, you know, my taste have developed for, I want to say, the finer things in life. Like, you know, your taste buds get acclimated to better foods as you get older, and your shit changes, and you know. So I never was really keen on Queen. I was never really keen on Johnny Cash. I didn't really get into a lot of these artists that you know were game changers. But Queen, man, like that's definitely a later in life, maybe within the past 5 years type of connection.
Really?
Yes. How about you? Like, first of all, let me ask you this. Are you a fan or not a fan?
Absolutely, I am.
All right. So
And for
how long do
me,
you go back with Queen?
and for me, I would say it was probably later years of high school to maybe right after graduation, simply because for me, I heard a lot of Queen stuff. You know, We Will Rock You, We Are the
I
Champions, the
know.
traditional stadium rock stuff. That's how I was introduced to them. And then also hanging out at Coal Holes a lot, his parents would listen to Queen and like Fat Bottom Girls and
Yeah.
Bicycle and stuff like that. I got to hear some of that music played there. So I got to know who they were back then. But, you know, for me, it really hit home with Wayne's World, the movie.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
Bohemian Rhapsody, when they did that part and they were singing in the car, you know, that's when it nailed it home for me. That's, you know, I'm a fan of theirs regardless, you know, but every time I hear that song, I don't think of the song, I think of the movie.
Oh yeah. That dude, like that's actually one of the better scenes in cinema ever. And it was a stupid ass movie, you know what I mean? But
I know
hey,
it was.
that was when we were stupid anyways.
Yep.
I'd like to think we're a little bit smarter than that now, but
I
um,
would hope so.
oh god, that hit on every single, you know, like dumbass, to be honest with. Like, if you, it was almost like Wayne's World and God, yeah, like I know you remember Beavis and Butthead, because God, do I remember you and Josh and everybody just doing that. But I
Yeah.
don't know, man. Queen got me later in life. I don't know why I didn't really dig them.
Okay. All right. Two other ones here that are completely different genre
Oh
music.
yeah, hit me with the N.W.A one, would you? Or
NWA
go
and the Beast,
sideways.
NWA and the Beastie Boys.
Oh shit, man. N.W.A was my, like, again, I know I was in the backyard. You remember the old explicit lyrics? Like that was when that first came out, the parents went ape shit. Now it's on everything, right? Like
Yeah.
you can't get away with, you know, you can't get away without saying shit, and it's explicit lyrics on the album. But
Oh yeah.
dude, when that first came out, and N.W.A was raunchy and just, I mean, it was gangster rap, right? Like Youngstown, dude, you could not go. N.W.A is N.W.A. So that was my Youngstown roots for sure, because we definitely got into it was the rap and all that other stuff. My dog's barking. Do you hear that, or am I
Yeah,
good?
you're good. Don't worry about it.
All right, cool.
You're talking, I
So
can hear him.
what's that?
You're talking, I can't hear him. It's
All
good.
right, cool. So I'll talk louder so I could speak over him. But yeah, man, N.W.A. That was probably, gosh, I'd have to see when that album. Do you happen to know when that release date was?
I can look
Can
real
you?
quick.
Yeah,
I was
let's
just
ask Google.
I I was just looking, or actually not looking, but listening on Spotify before we jumped on, and I was listening to some of their music. And let me see here.
I mean, that had to have been guessing. Shit. Totally guessing. 89, 90. No, earlier than that.
87.
Earlier than that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
87,
Because I remember.
88 was the formation of the group.
Yeah. So it just takes me back to my backyard being too young to listen to that shit and hearing it. And that was the problem, right? As soon as you heard it, you're like, you were in it and your parents were telling you not to listen to it. So you listened to it more and you hung out with your boys and listened to it more. And then you started swearing and stuff. Like, that's N.W.A, baby. That's been with me the whole life.
See, and how I remember N.W.A. or I remember Eazy-E or I remember Two Live Crew is our middle school years. Like you said, you weren't around until freshman year of high school. But in middle school, we always used to trade tapes, and that's how we would get the music. And believe it or not, I don't know if you heard this story or not, the man to go to in the gym locker rooms to get these tapes dubbed for you with all of this music that you couldn't buy anywhere else was Dago, Joe Catania.
Really?
He was the man.
Are you allowed to say Dago now?
I don't know. It's my
I don't know.
podcast.
Yeah, you better put a disclaimer on that. Now we're explicit lyrics. As soon as you said that, you can say shit, hell, damn, and F or whatever. But as soon as you say that word, you better watch out. So Joe Catania, really?
He was the man. If you wanted
Get out of here.
gangster rap like that, you would bring him a blank tape and he would dub it for you, and you would hope to get it back in the next day or two so you could start listening to it. Yeah.
You know what we got to do right now? You got to definitely tag him in this when you post it.
Okay.
And we gotta definitely. He would be so proud of you giving him that. That is street cred, baby. That is props. So really,
I don't know how much more street cred he needs, but I'll be happy to give him more.
oh, with the nickname Dago, like nobody messes with you, especially in Youngstown, Ohio, mafia capital of the mini mafia capital of the world. God forbid we say that anymore, but I still like that connection. So he was the go-to dude.
He was, yeah. So
did you own the N.W.A and you farmed it out and traded, or did you get through trade?
I got through trade. I never owned any type of gangster rap, hardcore rap tapes or CDs myself in middle school. Everything I got was because I got the tape off of him or I got the tape off of somebody else that had already gotten it off of Joe. And then I recorded it for myself and copied it. And that way I had it, obviously.
So do you remember what your first thought was when you listened to that, just gang banging shit, or because you were like, dude, do you remember back in that time, like what your genre was?
The typical 80s music.
Yeah, it was.
Listening to Hot 101 or whatever it was on the radio, and it was all the typical 80s music and
pop music, right?
Bobby Brown and the Bangles and that typical 80s.
Dude, don't you talk to me about Bobby Brown, man. I remember that was my first. Oh God, that was my first booby feel in 7th grade. On an 8th grader, because back in the day, middle school was only 7th and 8th grade. You remember that?
Yes.
But Bobby Brown, I owe a debt of gratitude because that was my first booby feel. So don't edit that out either, man.
Parental advisory on this podcast here for sure.
Oh, it was great. I love Bobby Brown. In fact, what are his initials?
BB.
Boobies are big. I don't
breasts.
know. Yeah, there it is. So yeah, so you were that R&B, just the general pop 80s stuff.
Yes.
And then you got introduced into the gangsta shit.
Yes. And when you first listen to it, you don't go home and just put it in your boombox and hit play. You got to put it in your Walkman with the headphones on and make sure your parents aren't around so you don't get your ass beat for listening to something like that.
Yep.
For my parents to understand what I was listening to and what I was saying and how I was talking in 7th, 8th grade, I would have been dead.
Oh, dude. And you got to remember where you were growing up too.
Yeah.
I remember that, man. Canfield, Ohio. That is not the gangster capital of the world for any stretch.
Oh, no, it wasn't.
Ron, what are you listening to back there? You better turn that off.
DJ Quick, man, leave me alone.
That's right. That's right. And then you move on to not to completely switch gears on you, but there's got, I mean, on that top 10 list, I got to ask you. So for the listeners who can't see the list, we covered everything on there. And by the way, Beastie Boys is badass. So BB, there you go. Bobby Brown, Beastie Boys.
There you go. Okay.
Beastie Boys, trendsetter, right? Like you that's the same thing. You got a few white boys getting into rap, like can't be done, won't be done. And they broke down the barrier, broke down the door. And you've got to almost everybody in that game, everybody in the music game that knows music pays homage to Beastie Boys, dude.
I completely agree. And if you want to talk about giving street cred again to somebody different,
Oh boy.
you weren't around. See, this is middle school stuff, and I don't know how.
Right, bring it.
Well,
I'm interested to know what I missed.
The reason I bring this up is because of music. And music takes you back to certain points in my life. With the gangster rap, I think of Dago with the dubbing of the tapes. When you say the Beastie Boys, I remember being in 6th or 7th grade in choir class, and the choir teacher at that time said, we were talking about making rhymes and talking about rhyming music and how can you rhyme. The teacher said, is there anybody that can rhyme a song or sing a song for me? Adam Katarski.
Oh God.
It's up in choir class and starts singing word for word Paul Revere by the Beastie Boys. Word for word. And the teacher had to cut him off after a little bit because he didn't stop. He just kept going and going and going and going and going and going through the whole song. Just as it starts getting to the swearing parts, luckily she cut him off. I think he would have said him in the meantime.
Nice.
But yeah.
So that's the legend of Adam Katarski 2. There is a legend of Adam Katarski 1 that I was introduced, and everybody knows what I'm talking about. That is in our circle of friends in high school relevance. We won't elaborate. Can't.
No.
But yeah, that is crazy that you could hit the Beastie Boys shit. What year was that, dude?
Well, you're killing me, man.
Middle school, right?
90. That was probably 89 or 90 because.
How old were you? Let's go there. How old were you?
Well, 13, 12, 11 or 12 years old.
You got to learn to do math better, man. What grade?
6th or 7th grade. Because right now, 8th grade, you're about 13, 14 years old.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah.
6th or 7th grade, you're about 11 or 12, roughly, depending on where your birthday falls off the new year.
Yeah. So, dude. So you're listening to Beastie Boys at that age.
Beastie Boys, N.W.A, Eazy-E.
Oh God! And Aaron, dude, your boy is 14 years old, right? What's he listen? Is he listening to that kind of garbage too?
He listens to everything I listen to. So he can listen to Metallica. He can listen to the Zac Brown Band. He can listen to Jimmy Buffett. He knows about certain disco music or songs or 80s songs that Jennifer and I will listen to. He knows nothing of the genre of music being played on the radio right now. He knows nothing about it.
Well, that's good. That means he's being brought up right.
Kudos. That's what I say too.
So, God, 14. I still can't believe we're this old. That sucks. But is he giving you any? Is he down with the Metallica and stuff? Is he enjoying your style and flavor of music?
He does. He went to see Metallica with me.
Oh, dude!
2 years ago, we were in Pittsburgh, and that was a personal highlight in my life for me because he got to see one of my favorite artists. About three or 4 years ago, we took him to see Jimmy Buffett. Same thing. I love his music. Aaron likes his music as I like his music, and he went to the concert with us, and we had a blast. And he saw Zac Brown Band 3 times, and that's a guy that has a huge catalog of music, and he could sing almost every single song by the Zac Brown Band. So he likes what we like. We give him free reign to listen to what he wants to listen to, but he tends to like what we like. I'm driving him to and from football practice, and I might be listening to Octane on Sirius XM, which is like all new hard rock stuff, and he'll start picking up on songs that are on there because it's what I'm listening to. if he wants to put on Hot 101 or whatever garbage channel from around here and listen to it, I'll put it on for him. But he chooses not to. He'd rather listen to what we're listening to because he enjoys it.
It's pretty awesome that he'll have the same type of connection. You already know it because it's by default. You can't violate the laws of music. So he'll hear some of these songs in, 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and it'll take him back to the same thing you just mentioned. So it'll be cool that if these lines ever cross, right? If he's checking out an old podcast from Pops, like, God, can you imagine, like, podcasts might not even be a thing in 20 years? Like, what? Oh my God. Your old man did a podcast. That's hilarious, right?
Yeah. What the hell was that?
if it crosses those lines and you make one mention of one song and it just triggers that memory for him as well.
Yeah.
That would be badass.
Oh, I agree. It's not that it's a goal in my life to do that, but I just would hope that he would be as diverse with music as I was growing up, because I listened to anything from Bobby Brown and the Bangles to the Beastie Boys to Metallica to Pearl Jam, to where I can understand and listen to Bob Marley or Jimmy Buffett, and then also respect Elvis and what he brought to the music world.
Dude, how has your musical taste buds changed over the years? Like, have you been opened up to more genres or even music bands that you really weren't in tune to maybe 2, 5, 10 years ago? What's that look like for you?
I would say that my ears have opened up more,
Yeah.
and I've tried to adventure out more. Like I mentioned, disco before. I never listened to disco music ever growing up, ever. But when I started dating my wife, she liked to go out and dance, and she likes to go out and have fun. And I heard of a band in the area called Disco Explosion when we first started dating. So I took her out to go see this band, and they were really good. They play a lot of the music I've heard before over the decades. Just I couldn't tell you what the name of the song was or who the hell sang it. But she wanted to go out and dance. And I'm like, I'm not dancing. I'm just sitting here. I just wanted to bring you here and listen to music. She's like, well, don't plan on bringing me back if you don't want to dance. So she forced me to start dancing and listening to this stuff. Off of that, I get into like Kool and the Gang and Earth, Wind and Fire, to the point where we're going downtown to Cavelli Center to go see Earth, Wind and Fire in concert.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd put that in the top 5 concerts I've ever seen in my entire life, just because of their stage presence, their catalog of music, and how they sounded when they were in that venue. It just blew me away
Yeah.
because they sounded so good. Listening to Jimmy Buffett and turned me on to listening to Zach Brown Band, which, maybe listen to like Jack Johnson. I've never heard of Jack Johnson before in my life until I started listening to Radio Margaritaville on Sirius XM. And then now I'm picking up on all these other artists like a Jack Johnson, like a Zach Brown, hearing more Bob Marley stuff on there. It just, to me, if you listen to different genres in music, especially if it's like a channel that plays different stuff, you could pick up on stuff. Like I mentioned, I listened to that Octane channel on Sirius XM. That's all new hard rock stuff. Some of that stuff I can't listen to, but then once in a while, a song will pop on there, just catch my ear. I'm like, whoa, hang on. I like the beat. I like the guy's voice. They have a good sound to them. Let me listen to this a little bit. Then I start getting curious and trying to get on Spotify or try to download some of the music to see what their other songs are about. And then before you know it, now I got a new favorite band or genre of music I want to listen to. So I've definitely opened up my ears a lot more to where I've gotten.
Yeah, that's what I love about technology too. Is it's definitely like, they'll have these just like they track us, right? Like there's so much data assigned to us, and there's data assigned to the bands, right? So they'll have this technology on Spotify or Sirius, and they know it, how it's those lines will cross as well. And then all of a sudden you're listening to somebody that you've never been in tune with, you've never even heard of. And all of a sudden you're on a different path of music, which is, so that's where I get opened up to a lot of different stuff too. And I could appreciate that, because that's fun to be listening to somebody you wouldn't even have thought about or been exposed to.
So speaking of somebody that you've never heard of off of your list,
Yeah.
I have a person or a band, I don't know which one this is, Gogol Bordello.
Oh, please tell me you've been introduced to that
I
man
have
band.
not, sir. So I was hoping that you would educate me a little bit.
Oh, dude, that's some gypsy punk stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, Gogol Bordello is the band name.
Okay.
They are comprised of, oh God, so that their music fits the speed of my brain. So they've got again, so their genre is gypsy punk, right? Like they're this Hungarian band that formed in New York City, and they have members of their band just spawning, not only different musical instruments, but different countries as well. Like it's just a collaboration of all these different people. And you go from, obviously you got your usual suspects, right? Like your lead guitar, your bass, your drums, and then it goes all the way down to the accordion, right?
Okay.
So their music shifts so much within the song that it feels like, all right, so the only way I could describe Gogol Bordello's music in a gypsy punk arena is, you know the Mega Millions lottery where you got all the balls just
Yeah.
popping around, and every once in a while the ball will drop down. It's almost like then you'll hear an instrument, then you'll hear, I mean, it's so fast and bouncing around between instruments and vocals. It speaks to my mind. So adult ADHD, I mean, again, man, I'm the squirrel that just bounces all the time. And that actually is number one on my list right now. So if you know how it is, dude, Pearl Jam, you grow with it. You don't grow apart from them. You grow with Metallica. You don't grow apart from them. Gogol is my newest, I'd say since, I don't know, within the past 5 years.
Okay.
Seen them 3 times in concert, and they're my favorite band right now.
That's cool. Like I said, and that's what's fascinating is I've never heard of that band before in my life. And I put on two songs on Spotify before we jumped on, and I'm
Oh
thinking to
shit, dude.
myself, dude, what is this? But
Did it?
how you explained it was perfect.
How bad was it for you?
It wasn't that
Honestly, how
bad.
bad was it, dude?
No, it wasn't that bad. I'm dead serious. If I can remember the name of the song I played first, um,
Start wearing purple was my first introduction,
yes,
and
that was the song I heard.
oh, dude, that's one of those fight for your right, like Beastie Boys songs that it's assigned to them, right? Like I don't know, man. I love that song because it takes me back to the minute that I heard it, and then I can share that song with other people. And I'm glad you listened to it, actually.
Yeah, I listened about the first two or three songs off of Spotify, and then I jumped on to about two or three songs, and I bounced around and that's what I like doing this because everybody gives me a list, and then I start going on Spotify or going to iTunes. I'll listen to a handful of songs off of each of one of these artists, and that either will trigger something for me, or in talking to you will trigger something for you as we're talking. But it's just nice to either reminisce and listen to some stuff that I've heard before, or in this case, listen to something I've never heard before. But for you, it's somebody you like. And for me, it's somebody I never heard. And I might go listen to them now. And maybe that's something that, flips that little light bulb switch for me and turns me on to them. I mean, who knows? But that's how music works.
Yeah,
It just,
very, very eclectic music, very eclectic band. I turned my brother on to my older brother Josh onto him. We actually that God I've apologized, too many times to my wife for taking her to a concert with them. And but bottom line is older brother loves them. We love listening to them, and it's number one on the rotation right now.
that's cool.
And they opened me up to another band, which is not gypsy punk, but it's in that punk arena. Idols. I don't know if you ever heard of Idols, but dude, they're pretty traditional punk music. And I don't know if you ever got into punk at all, but They're a band that you might want to check out.
The Idols. Okay.
Yep.
See, now I'm writing down more stuff, man. Hey, you up for playing any trivia?
Dude, I'm down, but here's me. I'm that guy that you know the guys, John Evans, old Nitty. You know,
Yeah.
he's like a movie magician. Um, I love movies and I love scenes and stuff, but you're probably going to trump me on every one of these because you're either good at answering the trivia stuff, and if I know these, if I'm a listener, I'd be betting against me for sure. But I'm down, dude. Let's do it.
Well, we'll go over some Elvis
And I
topics.
promise I promise I won't Google shit either, because that's straight up cheating. But I'll try and ask. I'll mute myself and ask Siri. Hit me with it.
We'll do some Elvis stuff first. I mean, it might be hard, it might not. Take a guess if you don't know the answer. It's just something I've done with every guest I've had on my podcast, and just something fun to do because it might be some, way out there question that somebody might know because they know the band or the artist, or it's going to be something that you don't know that now you've gained that knowledge. So we'll see how
Well,
it goes.
if you're going to ask me an Elvis question, Steve Sin, our buddy Steve, is a big fan, and that dude is a trivia. I can bet you that he'll know the answer, but hit me with it. I'm ready.
All right. Do you know what age Elvis was when he died?
Hmm. Can you give me a hint?
Um,
Did it have a 4 in front of it?
he's close in age to us.
Close, because I was going to say 43.
Well, you're pretty damn close because it was 42.
See? Oh, wow. So we've officially outlived, right? Because you're 43 too, weren't you a 77?
I'm 77, so I just turned 44.
Holy shit. That's weird for me because, again, being born on the day that dude died, I've officially outlived him by yeah. And by the way, don't ask me his birthday because it was, oddly enough, since we're doing the podcast, it was just 2 days ago. So,
well, you probably answered one of the questions I had listed down here too, because that was going to be, yeah, he just had a birthday. Was it yesterday?
The 8th, January 8th of 40 through, no, it must have been later than that. So yeah, about 49, I think. But January 8th for sure.
January 8th, absolutely correct. Can you name Elvis's first #1 hit song?
Oh God, nope. I could guess.
Take a guess.
Hmm.
Think of his most popular stuff.
I was gonna say like Jailhouse Rock, maybe Blue. Am I close?
Heartbreak Hotel.
Oh, okay, goody. Yeah, I figured it was one of the more popular ones.
Here's an interesting question for you. I don't know if you know the answer for this, but I found the answer quite interesting. What item was Elvis said to collect from every city he ever performed in?
God, really? What item?
What item did he collect from every single city that he performed in?
Did it have anything to do with a musical instrument? No. Oh shit. I'd have to say something to do with let's say a model car.
No. He actually collected police badges from every single city he performed in.
Why would he do that? See, that dude was totally out there. That guy was high all the time or drunk, something. What I love that dude. Police badges, really. All right.
Police badges.
That's some real trivia. Whoever got that answer, they Googled it for sure.
Last one from Elvis. Can you tell me what his middle name is?
No, I don't even think he had a middle name.
Elvis Aaron Presley.
Oh, look at you. Your boy, Aaron?
It was spelled Aron.
Oh, what's Aaron? What's your Aaron?
Aaron.
Did you just say Aaron?
Yeah, Aaron. I tell you what, when he
Aaron Presley?
What's that?
Elvis Aaron Presley?
Yes.
God, that doesn't have a good ring to it at all.
It does not. All right, let's switch gears. Let's move over a couple Pearl Jam questions. See if you can get these before we wrap things up. Okay,
If I don't, I'm gonna be shamed by the PJ fan club.
that's quite all right. Can you tell me why Pearl Jam called their first album 10?
No, no, I don't want too much dead air between this consideration of answers. So no.
They actually named their album 10 because it was named after their favorite basketball player whose name was Mookie Blaylock, and he wore the number 10.
No, that's the weakest really?
I'm dead
Mookie,
serious.
I do like Mookie Blaylock. I remember that dude. I think he was actually a Celtic, maybe. I'm guessing, but all right,
Uh,
so that's why they named it 10.
that's why they named it 10 because that was their favorite basketball player at the time. I don't know.
I'm hoping you ask me. All right, so go ahead. If you don't ask me, I reserve the right to reciprocate and ask you a trivia question. Is that fair?
Sure, why not? We have
Okay.
all the time in the world, man.
All right, cool.
Can you tell me what Eddie Vedder's full name is?
Edward Vedder. I don't know.
Edward
Yeah.
Severson the Third is his name.
What's his last name?
Severson, Severson. Edward Severson the Third.
Severson. So it's not even Vetterson. It's
Yep.
all right. Well,
And he's the third. So Edward Severson the Third.
there's no fourth out there, right? He doesn't have any Eddie Vedder the fourth running around.
Not that I know of.
All
I'll
right.
give you. Let me throw you a bone here. Let me give you an easy one.
Oh, wait. You just gave me a clue, or either a clue for the answer to this question, or you gave yourself a clue for my question to you. Go ahead.
What is the name of the band that consists of members of Pearl Jam and Soundgarden put together as a tribute band?
Oh, dude, you're an ass because I know this and I listen to it all the time. And it's one of those where I suck at trivia. So wait, let's come back to that.
Okay.
So give it to me again because it's at the tip of my tongue and I might just spit it out here.
What is the name of the band that consists of members of Pearl Jam and Soundgarden?
Yeah.
Put them together as a tribute band.
Yeah.
The tribute band was because of the deceased lead singer from Mother Love Bone, but that doesn't matter. But the band of Pearl Jam and Soundgarden put together.
Yeah, like I'm going hungry type of stuff.
That's the exact song that they sang too.
Yeah, and son of a biscuit. All right. All right, give it to me. And as soon as you say it, I'm gonna be pissed.
Temple
Of the Dog.
The Dog.
Damn it. Nobody knows about Mother Love Bone, by the way. I bet you. Maybe a select few.
Maybe a select few. All right. I thought you would get that one. Maybe you'll get this one.
Well, I knew it, dude. It's just, again, man, that's why I said if you're a betting person, I'd be betting against myself because I suck at trivia, but I know the answers to them.
Which album was the song Spin the Black Circle on? Spin the black circle.
That's gotta be, oh, son of a bitch. I would bet that's no, it's not Vitalogy. Is it Vitalogy?
Very good.
God.
Ding, ding, ding.
In fact, I think that's track Spin the Black Circle would be, do you happen to know the track?
I want to say if it's not, I want to say it's like 5.
I was gonna say 6. Can you Google that real quick, dude?
I will pull it up.
That wins all the marbles in trivia if we get the track right, either one of us. So Vitalogy.
I'm pulling it up. Hang on.
Hurry, let's do it.
What number did you say it was?
I said 6.
I said 5. Neither one of us are right because it's 2.
Is it 2? Son of a biscuit.
Yeah, it's 2.
All right. So, all right. Do you have any more trivia questions for me? Because I'll try and answer them.
I could try to do one more if you want to do one more. And then I was going to let you throw some props.
Well, I'll give you an easy one just because it has a local connection. That's not Pearl Jam related, but it is number 9 on my list. So Nirvana, right?
Yes.
Who was their drummer that has a local connection?
Dave Grohl.
Yeah. You know, I saw an article the other day that had, I think, the top 10 or top 20 local, musicians that made it big. And Dave Grohl wasn't listed.
Really?
I was kind of upset about that
Like, who
because they
else
were
is bigger than
stretching.
him?
Some of the names were stretched, and I'm like, if Dave Grohl isn't in this, it's the list sucks.
Well, what's funny is you mentioned Dave Grohl. His birthday is coming up on January 14th.
Is it?
He's going to be 52 years old on January 14th.
He's holy hell. They're 52. He's old, man.
And we just said that Elvis just celebrated a birthday. He would have been 86. But what's funny is I started looking up before we jumped on and before I knew that you and I were going to sit down today. Do you want to know what album is celebrating their 25th anniversary today?
Today?
Not today, but I should say this year.
So that would be what, 96?
Correct.
And you got to, all right. So can you give me a genre, or do you just want to say it?
It's one of your favorite bands we've been talking about. It's one of their albums.
Is it?
What turns 25 this year?
So, is it a PJ?
Yep.
It ain't 10.
No. No code.
No code. See that? I said it same. That was a good guess.
Yes.
That was a better guess. Yeah. All right. No Code's an awesome album, dude.
Turns 25 this year. Think about that.
I don't want to think about that. That's sad. That's sad. So, all right, man, you got my list of what, maybe the top 5 songs of all time that I could, it's almost like, movies that you could just, if it's on TV, by default, you're going to listen to it or watch it. What are your, I don't know, top 3, top 5 songs, and they can't be from the same band. It's got to be from different bands. Yep.
I would say, here, I'll date myself a little bit. I'll say, if you, in no specific order.
Okay, that's fair. Since I put you on the spot.
Sam Cooke, We're Having a Party.
Oh, really?
Metallica, Enter Sandman.
Wait, can you give me a connection on Sam Cooke's We're Having a Party? Like, is there something, what's there?
Growing up in a home of divorced parents, I spent a lot of time growing up because I lived at my grandparents' house over in Sherwood Forest.
Yeah.
And a lot, almost every morning or on the weekends in the morning, I would be waking up and my grandparents are playing oldies, Motown music and stuff on the radio. So as a kid waking up, that's the first thing you hear in the morning before, my grandma calls us to come in the kitchen for breakfast, is all this oldies and Motown and polka music and stuff like that. So that's where that came from.
All right. That's it. Dude, that's great.
You like that, don't you?
Yeah. I knew there had to have been something there, because that's not normally in the box of Ron Glista.
No. Another one that is in the box that you would assume would be a Metallica, Enter Sandman.
All right.
Yeah. That song never gets old. I can listen to that any old time and absolutely love it. If I had to pick a third one, it would be by Jimmy Buffett, but his catalog is so enormous. But there's a song in there called Lovely Cruise. And to me, like I told Jennifer, if not to, sound like we're down in the dumps and then our podcast here on a wrong note, but like I told her, I said, if something ever happened to me, God forbid, and I passed away, that would be like one of the songs I would want to have played at my funeral, because it talks about being at the end and sailing off, and everything you did was right, everything you did was grand, and I had a lovely cruise, but it's time for me to go.
Nice.
And that's just
that's not morbid. That's not morbid at all. That's sentimental. That's some good shit there.
I mean, that's just one of those songs. Every time I hear it, this would be it for me. I would want to have this played, but it's just a really good, deep song by him. That's not like in the Margaritaville or Volcano or anything like that. And before we get off here shortly, Erik, do you want to give any shout outs to any of your businesses or charity work or anything else you have going on real quick?
No, I mean, we talked about Special Olympics being near and dear to my heart, dude. Like, I've got a great board, great people that support me, but I do have a lot of people reaching out to me that, kind of want to get involved in the organization, do some, just basically donating their time and energy and efforts to the organization. So, for anybody that's interested in doing that, whether it be themselves or maybe they've got some kids that want to get involved in the Special Olympics organization, feel free to reach out to you direct, maybe make some comments on the thread. But Mahoning County Public Special Olympics is the name of the organization. We've got about 60 athletes in the organization right now. And I'll tell you what, man, our organization is between the immediate families, the grandmas, the grandpas, the aunts, the uncles, all the cousins coming in. We all know COVID changed that in the past year. But in a normal year, we have our track events and our bowling events and all these events that just, are surrounded by people and the connection of it, dude. Like, yeah, that's near and dear to my heart. And then that's pretty much it. I run the mortgage business, but that thing takes on its own little animal, and we'll save that for later. But I appreciate you having me, dude. This is awesome.
I'm glad you had fun. It was good to catch up with you. It's been a minute since you and I sat down, even though it's virtually. It's been a minute since you and I had a good conversation. I've been caught up in some rain delays here over the last month or so, and it's finally good to see your face and hear your voice and catch up with you. Definitely being able to reminisce on some old music for you and bringing back memories for me. It's cool, man. It's good to see.
Hell yeah, man. I can't wait to do this offline and in person and get back into the normalcy that we call in-person shit rather than this virtual stuff. But Absolutely. Man, I appreciate you having me on, dude.
Absolutely. Maybe sometime down the road here soon, you and I can kick back. We'll do this again, because I'm sure there's some other topics that you and I haven't even covered yet that we can definitely dive into. So how's that sound?
Yeah, no doubt. Anytime, just toss out the invite, and I'd be more than happy to have some, just set up some time and definitely come on board with you.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap things up for me. My name is Ron Glista. I want to thank you for joining me on my Music Spectrum podcast, and my guest today, Mr. Erik Cromer. It was good catching up with him. Make sure you guys check out the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or on anchor.fm. Also, check out my Facebook page. If you have any questions, if you're interested in being a guest on the show, please hit me up. But once again, thank you, Erik. Thanks for joining me tonight. You guys have a safe night. Thank you.